The lights flickered again across the Nexus station, and Taeyang Kim knew this was bad. Really bad. He grabbed his toolbox and ran down the corridor, his boots clanging against the metal floor. The massive space station was home to thousands of aliens from hundreds of different worlds, and right now, the power grid was failing. Taeyang had been working as an engineer on the station for 3 months. Most aliens ignored him. Humans were still new to the galactic community, and most species thought they were weak and stupid. Taeyang didn't care what they thought. He had a job to do. He rushed around a corner, his toolbox heavy in his hands. The emergency lights cast strange shadows on the walls. Aliens of all shapes and sizes were moving through the corridors, some panicking, some curious about the power failure. Taeyang didn't see her until it was too late. He crashed into something solid. His toolbox went flying, tools scattering across the floor. He stumbled backward and looked up. His heart stopped. Standing before him was a woman unlike any he had ever seen. She was tall, at least 6.5 feet, with pale skin that seemed to glow in the dim light. Her hair was long and black, flowing like liquid shadow. But it was her eyes that made his blood run cold. They were crimson red, and they were staring at him with murderous intent. She wore armor that looked both ancient and advanced, dark metal plates that moved like they were alive. At her hip was a sword that hummed with energy. Taeyang knew what she was. Everyone in the galaxy knew about the Sanguinar. They were vampire-like warriors from the edge of known space. They were fast, strong, and deadly. Their culture was built on honor and combat. They had conquered dozens of worlds before joining the galactic community. Most species feared them. Smart species stayed away from them. The woman's hand moved to her sword. The energy blade ignited with a sharp hiss, glowing with purple light. The other aliens in the corridor immediately fled. Some screamed. Others just ran without looking back. "Do you want to die, human?" Her voice was cold and sharp, like broken glass. Taeyang's mind raced. He had bumped into her from behind. In Sanguinar culture, that was probably an insult. Maybe a challenge. He didn't know. What he did know was that she could kill him before he could blink. But Taeyang was human, and humans had a stubborn streak that often got them into trouble. He stood up slowly, keeping his hands visible. "I apologize. The power failure is causing emergencies across the station. I was rushing to fix the main junction. I didn't see you." The Sanguinar woman tilted her head slightly. "You apologize? You do not beg for your life?" "Would begging change your mind?" Taeyang asked. His voice was steady, even though his heart was pounding. Her eyes narrowed. The sword remained pointed at his chest. "No." "Then I won't waste your time with begging," Taeyang said. "I apologize for the disrespect. If you want to kill me, that's your right. But thousands of people on this station need power restored. Could you at least wait until after I fix it?" For a long moment, she said nothing. The sword hummed between them. Taeyang could feel the heat from the energy blade. Then slowly, she lowered the weapon. The blade disappeared with a sharp snap. "You are either very brave or very stupid human." "Probably both," Taeyang admitted. He knelt down and started gathering his scattered tools. The woman watched him with those unsettling red eyes. "I am Nyla of the Sanguinar clans. You have offended my honor." "Taeyang Kim," he replied, putting tools back in his box. "Human engineer, and I really am sorry about that." "Your species is new to the galaxy," Nyla said. "You do not know our ways. This ignorance saves you. For now." Taeyang stood up with his toolbox. The lights flickered again, and somewhere in the distance, an alarm started blaring. "I really need to go fix this." "I will accompany you," Nyla said. It wasn't a request. "What? Why?" "You have offended my honor. Until I decide your fate, you are my responsibility." She started walking. and Taeyang had to hurry to keep up with her long strides. They moved through the corridors together, an odd pair. The tall, deadly alien warrior and the human engineer with his battered toolbox. Other aliens pressed themselves against the walls as they passed. No one wanted to be near a sanguinar. "So you're just going to follow me around?" Taeyang asked. "Yes." "Great. That's not weird at all." They reached the main engineering junction. The room was filled with humming machinery and blinking control panels. Taeyang went straight to work, opening access panels and checking circuits. Neela stood nearby, her arms crossed, watching everything he did. "What are you doing?" she asked after a few minutes. "The power grid is failing because someone tampered with the main distribution node," Taeyang explained, pulling out a damaged circuit board. "See this? This was cut deliberately. This wasn't an accident." Nyla stepped closer, examining the board. "Sabotage?" "Looks like it." Taeyang pulled out a replacement circuit from his toolbox. His hands moved quickly, making connections and rerouting power. "Someone wanted the station's power to fail. The question is why?" "I am on the station for diplomatic reasons," Nyla said quietly. "There are those who would prefer my mission to fail." Taeyang looked up at her. "Your mission? I cannot discuss it with a human." "Fair enough." He went back to work. His fingers flew over the controls, typing commands and checking systems. It was strange, working with a deadly alien warrior watching over his shoulder, but Taeyang focused on the job. After 20 minutes, the main power grid came back online. The lights brightened, and the humming of machinery returned to normal. "There," Taeyang said, wiping his hands. "That should hold until we find whoever did this." Nyla was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "You work with skill. For a human. Thanks, I think." An announcement echoed through the station. "Engineer Kim, report to station security immediately." Taeyang sighed. That can't be good. They made their way to the security office. Inside, Taeyang's friend, Jiwon Park, was waiting. She was a security officer, short and tough, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. When she saw Nyla, her hand moved to her weapon. "It's okay," Taeyang said quickly. "She's with me." "Station Administrator Hana Choi wants to see both of you," Jiwon said, not taking her eyes off Nyla. "There's been another incident. 3 more sabotage attempts discovered in the last hour." "This is bigger than I thought," Taeyang muttered. Nyla's expression hardened. "Someone is trying to destroy this station." "Or trying to kill someone on it," Jiwon added, looking directly at the sanguinar warrior. The 3 of them stood in the security office, and Taeyang realized his day had just gone from bad to much, much worse. He had accidentally bumped into a deadly alien warrior, discovered a sabotage plot, and now he was apparently involved in some kind of conspiracy. All he had wanted was to fix the power grid and go back to his quarters for some sleep. Being human in a galaxy of powerful aliens was never easy. But Taeyang had a feeling things were about to get a whole lot harder. Administrator Hana Choi's office was on the upper levels of Nexus Station, with windows that looked out into the stars. She was an older woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She had been running the station for 15 years, and it showed. "Let me make sure I understand this correctly," Hana said, looking between Taeyang and Neela. "You bumped into a sanguinar warrior, she threatened to kill you, and now you're working together?" "That's about right," Taeyang confirmed. Hana rubbed her temples. "This day keeps getting worse. We have sabotage happening all over the station. Someone is trying to cause a catastrophic failure. I need my best engineer on this, but now he's being followed around by a warrior who might kill him at any moment." "I will not kill him while he is useful," Neela said. "That's not as comforting as you think it is," Taeyang muttered. Hana pulled up a holographic display. It showed the station's layout with red marks scattered throughout. These are all the sabotage points we've found so far. 17 in total, each one carefully placed to cause maximum damage when they activate. Taeyang studied the pattern. They're all near-critical systems: life support, power generation, waste recycling. If these all go off at once, the station becomes uninhabitable within hours. Can you stop them? Hana asked. I can try, but I'll need access to restricted areas and time. You will have both, Nyla said suddenly. Administrator, I formally request to accompany Engineer Kim. My diplomatic mission requires this station to remain functional. Hana looked surprised. The Sanguinar don't usually make requests. They make demands. Consider it a demand, then, Nyla replied. But there was something almost like humor in her voice. Hana sighed and authorized their access. As they left, Jiwon pulled Taeyang aside. Are you crazy? She whispered. Sanguinar are dangerous. They've killed people for less than bumping into them. I don't have a choice, Taeyang said, and honestly, I think she's more interested in stopping the sabotage than killing me. For now, Jiwon warned. Just be careful. Taeyang and Neela spent the next several hours moving through the station, checking each sabotage point. Nyla watched everything Taeyang did with intense focus. She asked questions constantly. Why do you use manual tools? She asked, as Taeyang removed another damaged circuit. Your species has automated repair systems. Automated systems follow programs, Taeyang explained. Programs can be hacked or fooled. My hands can't be hacked. I can see things that sensors miss. Inefficient, Nyla observed. Maybe, but it works. Taeyang held up a small device he had found hidden in the circuit board. Like this. This is a delayed trigger. Your sensors would have missed it because it's not active yet, but I can see it was added recently. Nyla leaned closer, examining the device. How can you tell? See these solder marks? They're fresh, different color than the rest of the board. Whoever did this was good, but not good enough to fool human eyes. Interesting, Neela said softly. Your species has weak senses compared to most, yet you notice details others miss. We're stubborn like that, Taeyang said with a slight smile. They continued working. At the 8th location, Taeyang found something unusual. This doesn't match the pattern. What do you mean? The other devices were simple, crude even. But this one, he carefully extracted it. This is advanced tech. Really advanced. This wasn't made by the same person. 2 different saboteurs? Nyla suggested. Or one person with access to very different types of technology. A voice crackled over Taeyang's communicator. It was Hana. We have a situation. A data broker named Vex just contacted us. He says he has information about the sabotage. He wants to meet with you. Vex? Taeyang knew that name. Vex was an information dealer who sold secrets to the highest bidder. He was a small, insect-like alien with too many eyes and no sense of loyalty. Can we trust him? Can we afford not to? Hana replied. They met Vex in a dark bar on the lower levels. The alien was exactly as Taeyang remembered, all chittering legs and multifaceted eyes. He looked nervous, which was unusual for him. Engineer Kim, so good to see you alive, Vex clicked in his translator voice. And traveling with a sanguinar. How unexpected. What do you know, Vex? Taeyang asked directly. Information costs money, human. But for you, I offer a discount. I am feeling generous today. Vex's eyes swiveled to watch the bar entrance. There is a contract. Someone paid very well to destroy this station, or more specifically to kill everyone on it during a certain event. What event? Nyla demanded, her hand moving to her sword. A peace summit. Happening in 2 days. Very important people will be here. Very important treaties will be signed. Vex leaned closer. Someone does not want peace. Nyla's expression darkened. The Kryn Collective. Among others, Vex confirmed. They profit from conflict. Peace is bad for their business. If the summit fails, several wars will continue. They will make billions. Taeyang felt anger rising in his chest. They're willing to kill thousands of innocent people for profit? Welcome to galactic politics, human, Vex said. This is why your species should have stayed on your little blue planet. Before Taeyang could respond, an explosion rocked the bar. The wall exploded inward, and armed mercenaries rushed in. They were wearing combat armor and carrying heavy weapons. "That's them!" one shouted, pointing at Taeyang and Neela. "The collective wants them dead!" Nyla moved faster than Taeyang's eyes could follow. Her sword was out, glowing purple. And she was among the mercenaries before they could fire. The fight was brutal and quick. She moved like a dancer, every strike precise and deadly, but there were too many of them. Taeyang grabbed a table and flipped it, creating cover. He pulled out his multi-tool and threw it at the ceiling light. The room plunged into darkness. "This way!" he shouted, grabbing Nyla's arm and pulling her toward a maintenance hatch he knew was in the back. They ran through dark corridors and crawl spaces. Behind them, the mercenaries shouted and fired weapons. Energy bolts scorched the walls around them. "How do you know where to go?" Nyla asked as they ran. "I'm an engineer. I know every maintenance tunnel on this station." Taeyang led her through a series of tight passages that the larger mercenaries couldn't follow. Finally, they emerged in an abandoned cargo bay. They collapsed against a wall, breathing hard. Taeyang's hands were shaking. He had never been shot at before. In the dim light, he could see Neela had a wound on her arm, dark blood staining her armor. "You're hurt," he said. "It is nothing," she replied, but Taeyang could see it was painful. He pulled out his emergency medical kit. "Let me see. I do not need help from a human." "Just let me see the wound," Taeyang insisted. After a moment, Neela allowed him to examine her arm. The injury was deep but clean. He applied a bandage and a coagulant. "That should stop the bleeding." Nyla looked at him with those strange red eyes. "Why do you help me? I threatened to kill you." "Because you're hurt," Taeyang said simply. "That's what humans do. We help people who need it." "Even your enemies? Are you my enemy?" Nyla was quiet for a long moment. "No," she finally said. "I do not believe I am." They sat in silence, listening for sounds of pursuit. Outside the cargo bay, the station hummed with life. Somewhere out there, saboteurs were preparing to destroy everything, and in 2 days, important people would arrive for a summit that might never happen. "We need a plan," Taeyang said. "Agreed," Neela replied. "We must find all the devices before the summit, and we must discover who is behind this." "We also need to stay alive," Taeyang added. Neela stood and offered him her hand. It was a gesture of respect among the Sanguinar. Taeyang took it, and she pulled him to his feet with surprising gentleness. "You are not what I expected, Taeyang Kim," she said. "When I first saw you, I saw a weak human, a fragile thing that would break easily. And now? Now I see someone who runs toward danger instead of away from it. Someone who thinks quickly and adapts to survive. These are qualities the Sanguinar value." She paused. "You have earned my respect, human. That is not easily given." Taeyang felt something shift between them. They were no longer just a warrior and her accidental offender. They were allies, maybe even friends. "We should move," Neela said. "The mercenaries will be searching for us." "I know a safe place," Taeyang said. "Follow me." As they disappeared into the shadows of the station, neither of them noticed the small drone watching from the ceiling. And neither of them knew that their partnership had just made them the most dangerous threat to the conspiracy that threatened the entire galaxy. The safe place Taeyang knew was his own quarters in the engineering section. It was small and cramped, filled with tools and spare parts. Nyla had to duck to enter through the door. "This is where you live?" she asked, looking around at the cluttered space. "It's not much, but it's private. The walls are triple shielded because of all the equipment I work on. No surveillance can get through." Taeyang moved some circuit boards off a chair. "You can sit if you want." Nyla sat, her tall frame making the furniture look tiny. Taeyang pulled out his personal computer and started analyzing the devices they had recovered. His fingers flew over the keyboard, pulling up schematics and running diagnostics. "You do not sleep?" Neela asked after an hour had passed. "I'll sleep when we're not about to die," Taeyang replied, not looking up from his screen. "I'm trying to trace where these components came from. Every piece of technology has a signature, a way it's manufactured. If I can identify the source, we might be able to find who bought them." Another hour passed, then another. Nyla watched him work with growing fascination. The human never stopped. His eyes were red with exhaustion, but his hands remained steady. "Taeyang," she said softly, "you have been working for 6 hours without rest." "Has it been that long?" He rubbed his eyes. "I'm almost done. Just need to cross-reference this data with the station's shipping records." "Your species is weak," Nyla said. "You have no natural armor, no enhanced strength, no accelerated healing, yet you push yourself beyond what seems possible. Why?" Taeyang finally looked up from his computer. "Because giving up isn't in our nature. Humans aren't the strongest or the fastest or the smartest species in the galaxy. But we're persistent. We keep going even when logic says we should stop. That's what makes us human." "Persistence," Nyla repeated, as if testing the word. "Is this why your species survived on your violent homeworld?" "Earth wasn't always kind to us," Taeyang agreed. "We evolved as hunters. Not the kind that could catch prey in a single leap, but the kind that would follow prey for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. We're endurance predators. We outlast everything." Nyla stood and walked to the small window. Outside, stars streaked past as the station rotated. There is an old sanguinar saying, "The strongest weapon is often the one no one expects." I am beginning to understand what that means. A beep from Taeyang's computer made him turn back. "Got it! The components came from 3 different sources. One is a legitimate supplier on the station, but the other 2, he pulled up shipping manifests. These were smuggled in, and the shipping codes trace back to a company owned by the Kryn Collective." "So Vex was telling the truth," Nyla said. "Looks like it. But there's something else." Taeyang zoomed in on the data. "These shipments arrived at different times over the past month. Someone has been planning this for a while, and they had help from someone with high-level access to the station." Before they could discuss further, Taeyang's communicator buzzed. It was Ji-Won. "Taeyang, we have a problem." Her voice was urgent. "I just got a report. Someone tried to access the summit chamber. They were planting another device, but security scared them off. The device is still there, and it's different from the others. More sophisticated." "I'm on my way," Taeyang said, grabbing his toolbox. "I'm coming too," Nyla stated. They made their way through the station carefully, avoiding main corridors. The summit chamber was in the station's center, a large room designed for important gatherings. When they arrived, Ji-Won was waiting with a security team. "It's in the wall panel," she said, pointing. "We haven't touched it. Figured you should take a look first." Taeyang opened the panel carefully. Inside was a device unlike anything he had seen before. It was elegant, almost beautiful, with crystalline components that pulsed with soft light. "This is Valorian technology," Nyla said, recognizing it immediately. "The Valorians are a species known for their advanced energy manipulation. This device could destroy half the station." "Can you disarm it?" Ji-Won asked. Taeyang studied the device carefully. "I've never seen anything like this. The technology is thousands of years more advanced than anything humans work with." "Then we evacuate the station," Ji-Won said. "No," Taeyang replied. "We can't. The summit is in less than 24 hours. If we evacuate, the terrorists win. Peace talks collapse, wars continue, people die. He stared at the device, his mind racing. The components were connected in a pattern that made no logical sense to human engineering. Every time he thought he understood one connection, it led to 3 more that contradicted it. The logic is circular, he muttered. It's designed to kill anyone who tries to disarm it using conventional methods. If I cut the wrong wire, it detonates. If I try to remove it, it detonates. If I leave it alone, it detonates when the timer runs out. So what do we do? Ji-Wan asked. Taeyang sat back, thinking. Then he remembered what he had told Nyla about humans, about persistence, about doing things that didn't make sense. What if that's the answer? He said slowly. What do you mean? Nyla asked. This device is designed with perfect logic. It assumes whoever tries to disarm it will follow logical procedures. But what if we don't? Taeyang pulled out his tools. What if we do something completely illogical? You want to be unpredictable, Neela said, understanding dawning in her eyes. Exactly. This thing is programmed to expect rational behavior, but humans aren't always rational. Taeyang started working, but instead of following the standard disarming procedures, he did everything backward. He connected wires that shouldn't be connected. He removed components in the wrong order. He introduced controlled chaos into the system. Ji-Wan and her team backed away. Nyla stayed close, watching. You are either a genius or insane, she observed. Little bit of both, Taeyang admitted. Sweat dripped down his face as he worked. His hands shook slightly, but he kept going. The device expects me to follow its logic, so I'm not going to. I'm making it confused. Overwhelming its programming with actions it can't predict. The device began to pulse faster. Its lights flickered. The timer display started showing random numbers. Taeyang, Ji-Wan warned, maybe you should stop. Almost there, he said. He made one final connection, crossing 2 wires that by all logic should cause an immediate explosion. The device went dark. The pulsing stopped. The timer disappeared. Everyone held their breath. 5 seconds passed. 10. 20. Did you do it? Ji-Wan whispered. Taeyang carefully extracted the now-dead device. I think so. The logic circuits couldn't process what I was doing. They shut down rather than risk an error. Nyla laughed. It was a sound of genuine delight. Incredible. You defeated superior technology with chaos. Humans are good at chaos, Taeyang said, allowing himself a small smile. Ji-Wan took the device for analysis. As she left with her team, Neela and Taeyang walked back through the corridors. The station was entering its night cycle, and the lights were dimming. I need to tell you something, Nyla said quietly. The Peace Summit is not just any summit. It is the first time in galactic history that all the major species will sign a unified cooperation treaty. My people, the Sanguinar, are part of it. If this succeeds, it will change everything. And the Kryn Collective wants it to fail, Taeyang said. Yes, they profit from division and conflict. A united galaxy would end their power. Nyla stopped walking and turned to face him. But there is more. I believe the Kryn are not acting alone. They are pawns for something bigger. What do you mean? The Valorian device. The Kryn could not acquire such technology on their own. Someone is supplying them. Someone who wants to keep the galaxy divided. Taeyang felt a chill run down his spine. How deep does this go? I do not know. But I believe we are facing something far more dangerous than simple terrorists. Nyla's red eyes glowed in the dim light. There are forces in this galaxy that have controlled things from the shadows for thousands of years. They fear change. They fear unity. So what do? We find proof. We expose them. And we make sure this summit happens. Nyla placed a hand on his shoulder. It was a gesture of trust. I could not do this alone, Taeyang Kim. Your human perspective sees things I cannot. Together, we might actually succeed." Taeyang nodded. He was exhausted. Every muscle in his body ached. But he felt a strange sense of purpose. He was just a human engineer, one small person in a vast galaxy. But maybe that was enough. Maybe one person, refusing to give up, could make a difference. "Get some rest," Nyla said. "I will stand watch. You have earned it." For the first time since the crisis began, Taeyang allowed himself to sleep. As his eyes closed, he wondered what tomorrow would bring. The summit was hours away. Somewhere out there, enemies were plotting. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. But right now, in this moment, he had an alien warrior watching his back. And somehow, that made everything seem a little less impossible. Taeyang woke to the sound of urgent knocking. He had only slept for 3 hours, but it felt like 3 minutes. Nyla was already at the door, her hand on her sword. "It's Jiwon," came the voice from outside. Nyla opened the door. Jiwon rushed in, her face pale. "We analyzed the Valorian device. You're not going to like this." "What did you find?" Taeyang asked, rubbing sleep from his eyes. The device had a secondary function. It was recording everything in the summit chamber and transmitting the data. Jiwon pulled up a hologram from her tablet. "We traced the signal. It was going to someone inside the station's administration." "Who?" Nyla demanded. Jiwon's hands trembled slightly. "Daehyun Lee, your mentor, Taeyang, the senior engineer who trained you." Taeyang felt like he had been punched in the stomach. "No, that's impossible. Daehyun would never betray the station." "I'm sorry," Jiwon said softly. "We have proof. He's been accessing restricted areas, making unauthorized modifications to security systems. Taeyang, he's been helping the saboteurs." "Where is he now?" Nyla asked. "Security is looking for him, but he knows the station as well as Taeyang does. He could be anywhere." Taeyang stood up, his mind racing. Daehyun had been more than a mentor. He had been like family. The older engineer had taught Taeyang everything he knew about the station. They had shared meals, stories, dreams of a better future. This had to be a mistake. "I need to find him," Taeyang said. "I need to hear it from him." "That's not safe," Jiwon protested. "He could be dangerous." "I don't care. I need to know why." Nyla nodded. "I will go with you. But we must be careful. If he is truly working with the enemy, he will not want to be found." They searched the engineering sections first. Taeyang knew all of Daehyun's favorite places: the quiet maintenance room where he liked to think, the observation deck where he watched ships arrive and depart, the small cafe where he drank tea every morning. They found him in the emergency backup control room, a place few people knew existed. Daehyun was sitting at a console, his head in his hands. He looked 10 years older than the last time Taeyang had seen him. "I knew you would find me eventually," Daehyun said without looking up. "You were always too smart for your own good." "Why?" Taeyang asked. "Why would you do this? Help terrorists destroy the station?" Daehyun finally looked at him. His eyes were red from crying. "They have my family, Taeyang. My wife. My daughter. The Kryn Collective took them 6 months ago. They said if I didn't help them, they would kill them." The anger drained from Taeyang's body, replaced by sadness. "Why didn't you tell anyone? We could have helped." "I tried. I went to station security, but the Kryn have people everywhere. Every time I tried to ask for help, my family suffered. They sent me videos. My daughter crying. My wife hurt." Daehyun's voice broke. "What would you have done? Let them die?" Nyla stepped forward. "Where is your family now?" "On a Kryn ship, somewhere in the outer systems. They promised they would release them after the summit fails." "And you believed them?" Nyla asked, but her voice was gentle, not accusing. "What choice did I have?" Daehyun looked at Taeyang. "I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt anyone. But they're my family. Taeyang knelt beside the older man. I understand, and I don't blame you. But we need your help now. Tell us everything. Where are the remaining devices? What's the final plan? Daehyun hesitated, then nodded. There's one more device, the main one. It's hidden in the summit chamber itself, integrated into the structure. You can't see it from outside. It's designed to activate during the treaty signing ceremony, when all the leaders are in the room. How do we disarm it? Nyla asked. You can't. Not without destroying the entire chamber. The device is woven into the support structure. If you try to remove it, the whole room collapses. Then we evacuate, Jiwon said. She had been listening from the doorway. No, Taeyang said firmly. If we evacuate, the summit is cancelled. The conspiracy wins. Wars continue. People die. We need another solution. There is no other solution, Daehyun said. I designed it to be impossible to stop. I'm sorry, but there's no way out. Taeyang stood up and paced the room. His mind worked through the problem. An explosive device integrated into the chamber structure, too dangerous to remove, too complex to disarm, set to activate in just hours. Then an idea struck him. It was crazy, probably impossible, but it was the only option they had. What if we don't disarm it? He said slowly. What do you mean? Neela asked. The device is designed to destroy the chamber. But what if we move the chamber? Everyone stared at him. You want to move an entire room? Jiwon asked. That's insane. The summit chamber is modular, Taeyang explained, his words coming faster as the plan formed in his mind. It was built that way so it could be reconfigured. The room isn't actually attached to the station. It's held in place by magnetic clamps and pressure seals. If we release those, we could push the chamber away from the station using emergency thrusters. And then let the device explode in empty space, Nyla finished, understanding his plan. Exactly. We hold the summit as planned, but right before the device activates, we eject the chamber and bring everyone to a backup location. The timing would have to be perfect, Daehyun said. Even a few seconds off, and people could die. Can you tell us exactly when the device will activate? Taeyang asked. Daehyun nodded slowly. Yes. I set the timer myself. It activates precisely 30 minutes after the ceremony begins. Then that's what we'll do. Taeyang turned to Jiwon. Can you get Administrator Hana on a secure line? 20 minutes later, they were in Hana's office. The administrator listened to their plan with growing concern. This is incredibly risky, she said. If something goes wrong, we could lose everyone in that room, every major leader in the galaxy. If we do nothing, we definitely lose them, Taeyang countered. This is our only chance. Hana was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. I'll authorize it. But Taeyang, you'll need a team. This isn't something one person can do. I know. I'll need every human engineer on the station. Why humans specifically? Hana asked. Because we're going to have to work fast, adapt on the fly, and probably do things that make no logical sense, Taeyang explained. That's what we're good at. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Taeyang gathered every human engineer on the station. There were 12 in total, all skilled in different areas. He explained the plan, and not one of them hesitated. We're with you, said Minho, the youngest of the group. Humans stick together, right? They worked through the night, preparing the summit chamber for emergency ejection. They reinforced the structural supports. They installed backup thrusters. They created a secondary room in a safe location where the summit could continue. Nyla watched them work with fascination. The humans moved like a single organism, each person knowing instinctively what the others needed. They didn't have the advanced technology of other species. They didn't have enhanced abilities. But they had something else. They had each other. Your species is remarkable, Nyla said to Taeyang during a brief break. Separately, you are weak, but together, you are formidable. That's the secret to humanity, Taeyang replied. We survive because we help each other, no matter what. The summit was scheduled to begin in 1 hour. Delegates were already arriving. Ships from across the galaxy docked at the station. Important people, powerful people, all gathering for this historic moment. And somewhere in the shadows, the enemy waited. Taeyang checked his equipment one final time. Everything was ready. The chamber could be ejected at a moment's notice. The backup location was prepared. The human engineering team was in position. But he couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The conspiracy had been too elaborate, too well planned. Would they really put everything on a single bomb that could be avoided? Nyla, he said quietly, what if there's more? What if the chamber device is just a distraction? Nyla's eyes widened. You think there's another attack planned? I don't know, but these people have been planning for months. They have resources and inside help. Would they really rely on just one method? Before Nyla could answer, an alarm blared through the station. Jiwon's voice came over the emergency channel. All security to the main docking bay. We have unauthorized ships approaching, multiple armed vessels. Taeyang and Nyla looked at each other. The final attack was beginning, and they were running out of time. The station shook as the first wave of ships opened fire. Not enough to destroy anything, just enough to create panic. Delegates scattered. Security teams mobilized, and chaos spread through the corridors. It's a coordinated attack, Neela said, watching the tactical display. They're forcing us to choose between defending the station and protecting the summit. Taeyang's mind raced. The enemy was smart. They knew the station's security would prioritize protecting the delegates. That meant the engineering sections would be vulnerable. They're going to try to sabotage our plan, he realized. If they can stop us from ejecting the chamber, everyone dies when the bomb goes off. Then we split up, Neela said. I will protect the summit chamber. You coordinate the defense of engineering. Wait, Taeyang grabbed her arm. Be careful. These people won't fight fair. Nyla smiled, a rare expression that made her look less frightening and more human. Neither will I. She ran toward the summit chamber, her sword already drawn. Taeyang headed to engineering, where his team was waiting. We have incoming, Minho reported. Someone's trying to hack our systems remotely. Taeyang jumped onto a computer. The hack was sophisticated, but it followed logical patterns. He started throwing up countermeasures, not following any standard protocol, just doing whatever felt right. The chaos worked. The hacker couldn't predict his moves. But then the doors exploded inward. Armed mercenaries rushed into the room, weapons raised. Everyone down, one of them shouted. Move away from the controls. The human engineers didn't move. They stayed at their stations, hands on their equipment. I said move! The mercenary commander stepped forward. He was tall, covered in combat armor. Or we start shooting. Taeyang stood up slowly. You don't understand. If you stop us, everyone on this station dies, including you. I'm being paid enough not to care, the commander replied. Final warning. What happened next, Taeyang would remember for the rest of his life. Minho, the youngest engineer, stepped in front of the mercenaries. You'll have to go through all of us, and while you're wasting time shooting us, that bomb in the summit chamber is counting down. You have about 20 minutes before it turns this entire section of space into debris. The kid's bluffing, one mercenary said. No, Taeyang said quietly. He's not, and neither am I. You can kill us, but then you die too. Or you can help us save everyone. The commander hesitated. Through his helmet, Taeyang could see uncertainty in his eyes. These weren't fanatics. They were hired guns, professionals who fought for money, not ideology. How much are they paying you? Taeyang asked. Because I'm guessing it's not enough to die for. 10,000 credits each, the commander admitted. Then make a choice. 10,000 credits and certain death. or help us save this station and become heroes. The galaxy will remember the mercenaries who changed sides to save the Peace Summit." For a long moment, nobody moved. Then the commander lowered his weapon. "You're insane," he said, "but I'd rather be an insane hero than a dead mercenary. What do you need us to do?" Taeyang felt relief flood through him. "Guard the doors. Make sure nobody else gets in. We have work to finish." The mercenaries took up defensive positions while the engineers returned to their tasks. It was the strangest alliance Taeyang had ever been part of, but it worked. Meanwhile, in the summit chamber, Neela faced a different challenge. The delegates were gathered, ready for the ceremony to begin, but Neela could see armed figures moving through the upper galleries, assassins, waiting for the right moment to strike. She moved through the crowd like a shadow, her senses heightened. She spotted the first assassin aiming a weapon at the Sanguinar ambassador. Before he could fire, Nyla was there, her sword cutting through his weapon. The assassin tried to flee, but Nyla was faster. She disarmed him and threw him to the ground. Security teams rushed in. But there were more. Nyla counted at least 6 assassins in the chamber. They were coordinated, professional, and they had planned for everything. Everything except a Sanguinar warrior who refused to let innocent people die. Nyla fought like a storm. She moved between the delegates, protecting them while taking down assassins one by one. Her sword flashed purple in the light, each strike precise and controlled. She didn't kill anyone. She didn't have to. She was too skilled for that. The delegates watched in awe as this warrior, this representative of a species known for violence, fought to protect peace. Back in engineering, Taeyang received the countdown update, 15 minutes until the device activated. "We're ready," Minho reported. "All systems are go. We can eject the chamber whenever you give the word." Taeyang was about to respond when Administrator Hana's voice came over the communicator. "Taeyang, we have a problem. Someone's locked down the main control systems. I can't authorize the chamber ejection." "Who?" Taeyang demanded. "The lock came from diplomatic quarters. Section 7. Taeyang's blood ran cold. Section 7 housed the station's chief diplomat, Magistrate Kyle, the person who had organized the entire summit. "It's Kyle," Taeyang said. "He's the one behind everything." He ran, leaving the engineering team with the mercenary commander. The diplomatic quarters were on the other side of the station. Taeyang had 12 minutes to get there, confront Kyle, and unlock the systems. He found Kyle in his luxurious office, calmly drinking tea. The magistrate was an elegant alien with silver skin and multiple arms. He looked at Taeyang with ancient, knowing eyes. "Engineer Kim," Kyle said pleasantly, "I expected you would figure it out eventually. You humans are surprisingly persistent." "Why?" Taeyang asked. "You organized the summit. Why destroy it?" "Because I serve those who have guided this galaxy for 10,000 years, Kyle explained. "We are called the Eternal Throne. We have kept the galaxy divided, controlled, manageable. Your little summit threatens to unite species that should remain separate." "People are going to die," Taeyang said. "People always die," Kyle replied. "That is the nature of existence, but the order must be maintained." "I won't let you do this," Kyle smiled. "You are one human. What can you possibly do against 10,000 years of control?" Taeyang thought about everything that had happened. The sabotage, the attacks, the conspiracy. And he thought about what made humans different. "You're right," Taeyang said. "I'm just one human. Alone. I'm nothing, but I'm not alone." He pressed his communicator. "Minho, are you there?" "Here, boss." "Override the lockdown. Use the chaos protocol." "The what?" "Make it up. Be human. Don't follow the rules. Just break through." There was a pause. Then Minho laughed. "Got it. Being human. On it." Kyle's expression darkened. "You can't possibly break my encryption. It's been perfected over millennia." "That's your weakness," Taeyang said. "Perfect. logical, predictable. Humans aren't any of those things. Across the station, 12 human engineers worked together. They didn't follow protocols. They didn't use standard procedures. They threw random code at the system. They attacked from angles that made no sense. They created digital chaos that no ancient encryption could predict. And it worked. "Lockdown broken!" Minho's voice came through. "You're clear to eject!" Kyle stood up, his multiple hands reaching for weapons. "I cannot allow this!" But Tai Yang was already running. He heard energy weapons firing behind him, heard Kyle shouting orders to hidden guards. But Tai Yang didn't stop. He reached the control room with 2 minutes to spare. Neela was there, having secured the summit chamber. The delegates were being evacuated to the backup location. "Everyone's clear," she reported. "But we're cutting this very close." "That's humanity's specialty," Tai Yang said, his hands flying over the controls. "Ready for ejection." 1 minute left. He initiated the sequence. Magnetic clamps released. Pressure seals opened. Emergency thrusters activated. The summit chamber separated from the station, drifting into space. 30 seconds. The chamber floated away, its thrusters pushing it further from the station. 20 seconds. Tai Yang watched the countdown on his screen. His heart pounded. 10 seconds. "We did it," Nyla whispered. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The explosion was beautiful and terrible. The summit chamber detonated in a flash of light that lit up the darkness of space. The blast wave spread outward, but the station was far enough away to survive. Silence filled the control room. Then cheers erupted. The human engineering team celebrated. The mercenaries who had switched sides joined in. Even Nyla smiled. Over the next hours, the truth came out. Kyle was arrested. The Eternal Throne's conspiracy was exposed to the galaxy. The Kryn Collective's involvement became public knowledge. And with Dae-hyun's help, his family was rescued from their captors. The peace summit happened 3 days later, in the backup chamber. Every delegate who had been present for the attack came back. And this time, when they signed the treaty, it meant even more. They weren't just signing a peace agreement. They were rejecting 10,000 years of manipulation. They were choosing unity over division. The Sanguinar ambassador spoke at the closing ceremony. "We came here with doubts. Many of us believed humans were too weak, too new, too insignificant to matter in galactic affairs. But we were wrong. It was human courage that saved us. Human ingenuity that defeated a conspiracy that threatened us all, and human compassion that showed us a better path forward." Nyla stood beside Tai Yang as the ceremony concluded. "You did it," she said. "You changed the galaxy." "We did it," Tai Yang corrected. "None of this would have worked without you, without everyone who helped." "What will you do now?" Neela asked. "Go back to being an engineer, I guess. Fix things, build things, live a quiet life." Neela laughed. "I do not think quiet is in your future, Taeyang Kim. The galaxy knows your name now. You are a hero." "I'm just a guy who bumped into an alien warrior's butt and somehow survived," Taeyang said with a grin. "You are far more than that," Neela said seriously. She pulled out her sword and offered it to him. "This is a Sanguinar honor blade. It has never been given to someone outside our species. But you have earned it. You have earned my respect and the respect of my people." Taeyang took the blade carefully. It was lighter than he expected, perfectly balanced. "Thank you. But I have to ask, when you first threatened to kill me, were you serious?" Nyla's red eyes sparkled with humor. "Very serious. You are fortunate you chose dignity over cowardice. And now? Now you are my friend, and the Sanguinar protect their friends." As they walked through the station together, Taeyang thought about everything that had happened. He had started as an unknown human engineer. He had faced death, conspiracy, and impossible odds. But he had also found friendship, purpose, and proof that humans belonged in this vast galaxy. Not because they were the strongest or the smartest or the most advanced, but because they never gave up, because they helped each other, because they faced fear with courage and darkness with hope. That was what made them human. And in a galaxy of wonders and terrors, that was enough. The story of how a human engineer saved the galaxy from destruction became legend. It was told on worlds across known space, and it always began the same way. Do you want to die, human? And the human, instead of cowering, chose to stand tall. That choice changed everything.